Hey guys, welcome to Movie Club. This week we don't have Nunny or Ricky, but we've got one better. Introducing Max.
Hi guys.
Natty, quick, put in vuvuzelas. You know, the horns. Anyway, this is Max. He's one of the writers on our show.
We're off to a great start.
He used to write movie reviews. Tell us where, Max.
I still do sometimes. I've written for Gothamist. I've written for The Village Voice, RogerEbert.com, most recently Brooklyn Magazine, Tiny Mixtapes. So I've been around the yard a few times with that. But today I thought I would pivot to video so that we can do Siskel and Ebert of our own, except we get naked at the end.
Woo!
Yeah.
So stay around to the end and you'll get to see all of this.
We just spoiled the twist for you, just like this movie did a bunch of times.
Do we want to key up the trailer?
Let's key up the trailer.
This week we saw Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Here's what it looks like.
It was all a lie!
The man who proved raptors can follow orders. You never thought how many millions a trained predator might be worth?
They're gonna sell them.
Not blue. They need it for something else.
What is that thing? They made it.
This is the most dangerous creature that ever walked the earth.
Yeah.
That looked action-packed, did it not?
And it was some of the movie. Anyway.
Yes. Let's talk about that trailer first. I mean, I don't remember seeing any of the trailers in the theaters, except for the parts where Jeff Goldblum was in, which we did not see in that trailer. But
I think he comes up in it later.
Yes.
Because I think he's in all of them. They really pushed. Like, all the marketing was like, hey, Jeff Goldblum's back.
It's that guy you like, but
Everybody
he's got a
loves
shirt
him.
on.
But, yeah, I would like to see him without his shirt off.
Next
again.
movie, if he's still around.
Same pose.
Isn't that what everybody wants?
I think so. No, we don't need dinosaurs. Yeah, so coming off the tail of Jurassic World, which was, I think, the #1 grossing movie of all time. Did it beat? It had the biggest opening weekend.
It's definitely
And
high
was
up there.
I think it unseated The Force Awakens, and then was unseated again by either Infinity War.
Either
maybe
way,
another movie.
the first Jurassic World made a lot of money.
I think it was over $1 billion. Definitely was over $1 billion.
I still don't know why that movie made so much, because I really did not like Jurassic World at all. Did you?
I
The first
was
one, I mean.
fine with it. I think I revisited it recently, and I don't hate it. It's much better than Jurassic Park 3. I think I'd say it's better than The Lost World, just because, like, I didn't like the little girl, like the stowaway. There's a lot of dumb stuff in The Lost World. I felt like Jurassic World was fun, and I liked it, and I liked how it looked. I don't know. I was fine with it. I wanted them to do more. Like, I liked what they were seeding. I thought it was like, ooh, maybe they'll do, like, soldier dinosaurs.
Sure.
I want to watch that.
I would love some soldier dinosaurs. That's kind of what they're getting at in this movie. I mean, I had very low expectations going into this one just because I did not like Jurassic World at all. I thought it was very annoying and just there was like no chemistry between anybody, not even between the human actors, let alone the dinosaurs. I mean, give your first impressions on how this one worked out for you.
I was excited until I saw the trailer that I was like, oh, there's the plot. Do we have that? Do we have that keyed up? We can do. This is a snippet of the final trailer that they showed, that pretty much just gives away the whole plot. And it's not a spoiler because it's promotional material. So.
Run! Run!
That wasn't the clip I was thinking of, but
that was part
that
of...
did give away a lot too. That was like the big action set piece of the whole first act.
That was like there was a trailer that they put out that's called the final trailer. That's really just 6 minutes of footage. That's not a trailer. I'm sorry, but what we saw there, we saw the island exploding, right?
We did. We saw the premise of this movie is the island, unbeknownst to everyone, has been an active volcano this whole time. Oops. 25 years it's gone well, not 25 years, a long time it's gone dormant, and then now, because this movie needed to happen, it's blowing up. So they got to go rescue the dinosaurs. So they, the gang gets back together, and they go to the island to rescue the dinosaurs. But that's really only like Act 1.
Yeah. There's a whole thing about like the military being cocky about it, and but then the rest of it is all about billionaire scientists trying to take advantage of the whole thing.
It definitely has a real shift in tone.
Yes.
Like the beginning of the movie has that very Jurassic Park beginning where Hammond like goes out into the middle of nowhere and collects his scientists, and then they go to the island. There's wonder and awe, and then violence and death, and then they're like sudden shift. Now it's a horror movie. And like I guess the first Jurassic Park was pretty suspenseful and had a lot of horror elements, but it all stayed, cohesive. This one I felt like when they got to the mansion, it was like a totally different movie.
Yeah. We should point out that I believe his name is Juan Antonio Boyana, who's the director of this movie, has previously only directed, there's a film called The Orphanage and A Monster Calls or something like that. What's it called?
I do not know.
But
I think
either
it's
way,
like that.
he's
only had and they were like, one of them did like 12 million. So he's never messed with a huge budget before.
Right. He really works in I think like a child's fantasy adventure film, which is a weird thing to pull into Jurassic Park, but
I can see where that would come in.
Yeah.
There's a few scenes that you're like, this is whimsical.
Sure.
In a weird way, in like a scary, childlike way. I don't know.
It leans hard into the whole monsters in the closet kind of thing.
They definitely go into that hard. Do we have the clip of the new Indoraptor? No.
Yeah, we should talk about that.
So the new big bad guy of this movie, they killed off the I-Rex, or the Indominus Rex. That's a very silly name. In the first movie, this movie's cold open, which I thought was amazing.
It's a really good cold
open. It's
open.
Raining. It's got that whole aesthetic of like the beginning of the first Jurassic Park where you can't really see everything. They go into although I love that they retconned that the Mosasaurus tank is like by the ocean. Because in the first one, it was in the middle of the island. And there's no way you were getting that Mosasaurus out. And now it's on the coast somehow. So like, hey, look at Jurassic Park geography. It's changing all the time, just like that T-Rex pit. So they go into the Mosasaurus thing, and they like collect a tooth or a rib.
Yeah.
A rib, I think.
It's a tooth.
And then it floats to the surface, and then the Mosasaurus appears in the background. It's very scary and dark, and then there's a T-Rex and it chases a guy, and it's like, ooh, all right, this is getting off to a bang.
Yeah.
And then the Mosasaurus gets out, and you're like, oh, what's going to happen with him? Spoiler alert, he's not in the rest of the movie. But I assume he will be in later sequels.
Probably.
I mean, I guess they kind of did that in the first one, too. They're like, hey, look at this cool dinosaur. He'll show up at the end.
Yeah, and they basically build from, like, the DNA or whatever of a tooth and build this thing called the Indoraptor, which is the premier big bad of this movie. And
he's a raptor with a yellow stripe, not to be confused with the raptor with the blue stripe.
No, because that's the good
He's
one.
He's the good raptor. He only kills bad guys now.
Bad raptors have yellow.
And red eyes.
Oh, yeah.
And big, if you've seen any of the other trailers, you see a lot of like hands with claws on them coming out of grates and out of bedrooms.
Which I liked that. I liked, the whole thing of how it's sort of like playing with this sort of like, playing with shadows, playing with like close-ups of like talons and stuff like that. Like really just, making things more visually interesting.
I liked all the shadows. I think some of them, a lot of it, there were a few callbacks to the original movie. There's like a scene where the Indoraptor's running down a hall and the little girl's she's trying to pull the thing down just like the little girl in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And then there's another where it's like, its head comes into frame and it flashes with lightning, and I was like, oh, that's another, that happened in Jurassic Park 2.
Yeah.
Not 2, but all as well.
But, I mean, my thing about it is, I like how it played illusion in terms of like set pieces and shots rather than being like, oh, look, the Jeep. Because I don't like it being
Although that Jeep there was a Jurassic Park Jeep, and then it got hit by lava and bubbled and You were like, oh look, the old one's burning
Yeah,
away.
I like that.
Symbolism.
Because the thing is, it's what I get annoyed by, and this happens like with the Star Wars movies too, where it constantly reminds you, don't forget you're watching a Jurassic Park movie. It's like, we know. That's why we came here. So
yeah, they definitely
but they did
go
it more
hard
subtle.
on the. I feel like the first one was a little more on the nostalgia. Like they didn't have a scene where the kid pulls out the goggles.
I know that's what I was referring to. That's what, because it's just like, you get it. So, but the thing is though, as much as I liked them paying tribute to like classic set pieces, if I'm watching, if this is the 5th Jurassic Park movie or the 2nd Jurassic World movie, they really need to like step further and further away from the original movies and become their own thing.
I think that's what this movie was trying to do. I think at the end of the day, they were trying to wipe. They're doing what every other movie has done this year, The Last Jedi and Marvel Infinity War, and I'm sure others, where they're like, we're doing The Empire Strikes Back, where we did the thing and we made it and it worked, and now we realize we can't just keep doing that, so we're going to burn it all down.
Sure.
This time with a literal volcano.
Yeah.
And then, so if you haven't seen the movie, we'll spoil a little scene here. It's all over Twitter.
Yeah.
All the main characters get onto a boat. They've got the dinosaurs that get to live, and there's like a lone Brachiosaur that comes down the pier as the island's exploding behind him. And the theme of the movie comes in. It's very slow. It's like a piano melody.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of close-up shots of Bryce Dallas Howard crying.
Yeah.
And Chris Pratt looking stoic, and then a crying Brachiosaur as it dies. And it's just, it's well shot. I liked it.
It's really touching, and I know that people like were like really like traumatized by that. Like apparently kids were crying when that happened, and I understand why, because at this point the dinosaurs are really, really cuddly. Let's face it, they're really not that scary anymore. At least not to me. But you just grow to love them. They just become Barney at a certain point.
Well, they've definitely gotten away from like the bad guys of the old show or the old movies are definitely the good guys now. The T-Rex and the raptors are like the good dinosaurs, even though
you want them to eat the evil humans.
Yeah, they're gonna get those nasty bad guys. The InGen analog. Every Jurassic Park movie has to have a shadowy paramilitary organization with a disgruntled. Let's talk about Toothman, the obvious bad guy of the film. It's like he's got a vest on, and he's got like a hunter's hat, and he's like kind of a good guy for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And he likes to collect teeth, like that's his gimmick.
Yeah.
And he's the reason the Indoraptor gets out, and it's just very Jurassic Park to have a character just consistently make stupid decisions.
Sure.
Until they violently die.
They really amped that up in The Lost World, because in the first movie, you had the Wayne Knight character, but he's killed off within like 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So like they really, and the rest of it is just about survival. And in The Lost World, you had like the Pete Postlewaite character sort of be like,
Is
the
that
bad.
the hunter?
Yeah. Like,
Does he die though?
I don't know.
I thought he makes it through the film.
But that's the first time.
The InGen guy gets eaten by the baby.
That's true.
The baby T-Rex.
But like, I'm just gonna use that as a jumping off point in terms of like, I think that this is definitely the most fun I've had watching a Jurassic Park movie, because since the first one, obviously, but because I think it's a better version of The Lost World, which I don't like at all. I don't like The Lost World, except for like that first scene.
I don't think it's. I think Jurassic World is very similar to Jurassic Park in structure. And I think this one got away from. I thought it was going to do a Lost World thing again, where like we got to go to the island and then bad things happen, and then we got to escape the island. But they did, like the latter half of the movie is them in that mansion doing like a horror thing. So at least it's something new, which I appreciate. I just wish it was more. I want the movie that this movie set up.
Absolutely.
More, and like by the time we got to the movie, I was just like, well, I didn't really want to watch this. I want to watch what you're selling me on. It's kind of like at the end of Iron Man, where I was like, well, now I want to watch the Avengers. But Iron Man was still a good movie. This time I was like, I could have not. I want to see where you're going with this. Or a better example, Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
I think they got way better once the apes have like an army, and then the first one is not as good.
Sure.
If you know what I mean.
Which is what you want from a sequel. You want it to surpass the previous chapter. I mean, that's what I would hope for. That's why I like Gremlins 2 better than the first one.
There's so many reasons. Like
I actually thought of that movie during this one, like the thing you see that like the talent like come out and like it like gets on somebody's like shoulder.
Oh,
I almost was picturing a boink boink like they have like in Gremlins 2.
Might have been a very different.
I'm trying to remember if that happened to. By the way, let's talk about the characters real quick.
Oh yeah, or the lack thereof.
Sure.
We bring back, if you saw Jurassic World, Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard both had characters. They are back. Bryce Dallas Howard is now a conservationist.
Sure.
And Chris Pratt has not changed at all.
He's building houses.
And I think they were paying. There was like, she's introduced in an elevator the same way she is in the first movie, except now instead of being this high class like park runner, she's like the elevator doesn't work and she's dressed kind of shabby, and you're like, oh, things have changed.
She's carrying coffee, which means she's grounded.
Yeah, but then they go to they do the exact same introduce Chris Pratt scene, only now he's building a house and being smarmy. And in the first one, he's fixing a motorcycle and being smarmy. So it's like, oh, so nothing has changed. And then he's like, I'll go along because the writers said I would.
And
also, I'm sad about this raptor.
Yeah, that's his whole thing. His only thing is that he loves Blue, which is fine, but you need more than that.
And I feel like they're kind of retconning how terrified he was of the raptors in the first movie. Because he was like, all right, no, shoot him. Like, as soon as they turned, he was like, oh, we're screwed. And then at the end, he's like trying to get Blue back. Remember, like, he's standing outside the pavilion?
Yeah.
And they also did that shot again.
Like, I still don't know what Bryce Dallas Howard's thing is.
She's got to save those dinos.
She's got to save those dinos, but she's also got a thing for having really cliched outbursts. You know what I mean?
Oh, the beach scene.
The beach scene. I love the beach scene so much. You never get so mad that you just throw sand, because that's exactly what Bryce Dallas Howard does.
A lot of the writing in this movie is very on the nose.
Less so than the first one, than Jurassic World, because I thought,
they didn't have to, when they turned to the camera and were like, the Indominant Threats presented by Verizon. Get it? Do you understand the theme of the movie? So both of them, they don't really have anything going for them. Like, it's just like a not as fun Chris Pratt, because he's not really telling jokes.
No.
He's just like
being handsome.
Just being like, he just smiles at the camera. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy Chris Pratt and like everything he does.
Sure.
I've followed him since Parks and Rec. I think it's hilarious he's in the Jurassic World movies because of the like a viral video he put out 5 years ago being like, hey, Steven Spielberg, I'm ready to be in Jurassic Park 4. And then he like was.
Oh my gosh.
And that was when he was like fat and not in amazing shape. Disney hadn't gotten hold of him yet.
Why are you
Chris Pratt is now in like the two highest grossing movies of 2018 and 2017 and I think 2016. And
I think we need somebody else.
So yeah, they were like, let's get these two crazy high profile stars and then do nothing with them.
And then you have three new young characters. You have the two Bryce Dallas Howard's assistants or interns, whatever.
The classic, we have these characters that have no business going to the Jurassic Park, and let's bring them.
Yeah.
One of them's like, what was he, a datum systems analysis data system?
Sure.
Something.
Let's
I
say
plug
that.
in wires. And like, you plug in wires, and then later in the movie he plugs in wires. And
He's
it's like,
a nerd.
Ugh.
And
then she's a paleo veterinarian.
But a tough one.
She went to school to be a doctor for dinosaurs. And then the movie's like, well, you'll never even see dinosaurs. And it was like, but dinosaurs exist. So like that actually makes sense for her to be a doctor for dinosaurs. I assume the park.
It's a reasonable career.
Yeah.
Probably really competitive. Is it?
I feel like there's a scene there where they were like, where she would be like, I was planning to work at the park, but then the park closed down. I don't know.
We should talk about the other new. Oh wait, well first I want to talk about, because he really annoys me. That dude, the dude who's the data systems analyst or whatever, who is the most annoying character I've ever
I thought he was
experienced.
fine. You gotta have a screamer.
No, you don't.
Every horror movie needs a screamer.
Okay, but he was a bad one.
And good for them for, you know, taking that role from women, giving it to a man.
Sure, fine.
Just high-pitched screams, that's all he did.
Fine.
Look at the first one, they had the little girl, and she just, every time there's a dinosaur.
Yeah, but she was good at it. This guy was just a wuss. I'm sorry.
I mean, you'd probably scream and cry if a dinosaur chased you.
Absolutely, but I would hope I'd scream cooler than that.
He's fine. I thought he was I like that they got rid of him like halfway through the movie, and then
Yeah.
occasionally be like, he's still alive.
I didn't want him eaten. I kind of did, but
I was shocked he didn't get eaten.
I really was too. But let's also talk about Maisie, who is arguably for me the most interesting character in the whole movie.
But also the one with the most the most build up and no payoff.
Oh, I hate when that happens so much.
So Maisie, Hammond, the guy from the first movie, the genius billionaire man who invented Jurassic Park, has a secret partner that we haven't talked about for the last
so we just
4
found
movies.
out after 25 years.
He also has a cane with a little mosquito in it, in case you forgot that.
And a red bandana around his neck, like Alan Grant had.
And he wheels in, and there's a little girl, and he's like, "That's my granddaughter. My daughter is dead." And it's just like, and then he like looks at the camera, and you're like, "Oh, all right." And in that exact moment, I was like, "Well, there's the twist."
By the way, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, we're gonna spoil it.
I don't know how you made it
It's not
this
that much
far.
of a spoiler. But they're like later in the movie, occasionally they're like, "Oh, that terrible thing you did," and they like hint that like a bad like, and he's got like a book with a picture, and it keeps trying to get pulled out. Like little girl wants to see the picture, and she's like, "Do I look like my mother?" And then he's like, "Oh, you're a spitting image," and I'm like, "She's a clone. Obviously, she's a clone. He's got a cloning facility in his basement. The movie's about clone dinosaurs. She's gonna be a human clone." And then at the end, he's like, "You don't even." So Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt get a hold of her, and then they have to like protect her so that he can look like a hero. And then the villain of the movie is like, "You don't even know what she is. She's a monster. She's a clone." And then like a dinosaur shows up, and we move on, and then we never address it again.
We got a good like shocked look of her, like, but that's it.
But then a dinosaur shows up like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, "Oh, time for the action."
I mean, and obviously I think they're trying to go for like some kind of like commentary like they do with like, the disrupting the natural world and stuff like that.
Oh, sure. And it fit into the theme too. But then they didn't do
No.
They weren't like, "Oh no, a clone." Like they were just like, "No, she's a scared little girl." And like as the audience, I wasn't like, "Oh, that monster." I was like, "Oh no, that scared little girl."
It's so weird. I mean, don't introduce something like that so late into the movie if you're going to do nothing with it. Except for the thing where she does let the dinosaurs go.
Yeah, but I would have believed that if she wasn't a clone. She's just a little girl, and there's like, so at the end of the movie, all the dinosaurs are like trapped in a basement, and there's like, they're like, "Should we let them out and like let them into the world?" And they're like, "No, that's a bad idea." And then
because it is.
And then the little girl's like, "I'll do it!" Bam! And just dooms us.
Dooms us all. But that's going to be a good movie.
Right.
I hope.
So the movie ends on this like macabre note of like the T-Rex is out in the world and the raptor's out in the world and the Mosasaurus. Like there's a trailer shot of the Mosasaurus about to eat a surfer.
Yeah.
That's like one of the last
some
shots
weird
of the movie.
Sharknado scene that they're just.
And it's like it's like, "Hey, we're gonna do a movie now," or like the next movie will be a post-apocalyptic Mad Max with dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And I want that movie so bad.
I do too.
And this movie, I'm like, you ruined your own. Like, I want to see that way more than I want to see this.
But it's like it's the first time I think they've actually tried to foreshadow something really high stakes in Jurassic Park movies. They haven't really done that. They haven't really ended on a cliffhanger like that before.
No, they've never done that.
Yeah.
They had like little hints and stuff, but they've never Empire Strikes Back the series. And that's what this felt like. Beginning starts a big action scene, you get pumped, and then there's like a slow burn in the middle. But there wasn't enough care. Like Empire is such an amazing movie because of Han and Leia's interactions, and you care about what's happening to Luke. And in this, it was like, they're not gonna kill Chris Pratt. He's not gonna die. So you're just like, all right. And the relationship between the two characters isn't like interesting. It's like they already kissed in the first movie, and then they're gonna do it again at the end of this one, and you're like,
yeah.
This isn't Jim and Pam. Like, we get it. You're
the
only two adults. Like, of course you're gonna.
Yeah, if they're trying to set up a will they, won't they? It's not working for me.
Because they will. Because we know they will.
So I do want to talk about a couple random other things. We were talking about this before, and I think this is an important thing. Do the dinosaurs still poop? This is a very important topic that we would like to address right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of scenes of those dinosaurs in really confined spaces, and the first movie set up that the Triceratops poops out a mountain, big, taller than Laura Dern. So I want to know how that ship is handling all that waste. It takes a long time to get from an island off the coast of Costa Rica all the way to wherever in America.
They gotta go.
Not a day. Takes a while.
They gotta go at some point. I mean,
they put them in a basement.
Have they just gotten far enough with it that they can bioengineer dinosaurs that just don't have bodily waste? That's crazy. Or
That's too much.
Or they just
That's
fart.
playing God.
I don't know.
That's what the end of the movie monologue from Ian Malcolm should have been. It was just been like, and these dinosaurs don't even poop.
I want to see that full Court TV C-SPAN broadcast of
just a lot
Ian
of
Malcolm
pauses.
just by himself, like just giving his testimony.
I like that someone yelled murderer, and it's like, do you guys not remember when that T-Rex rampaged through San Diego?
No, that was fake news.
Yeah.
And I do want to bring up one more thing before, because we should wrap it up soon. I hate the tagline for this movie. I've seen it in the subway everywhere, and it's just an action shot, and it says, "The park is gone." Well, no kidding. I mean,
It was gone in the last movie.
we gone from the first movie, which the tagline was, "An adventure 65 million years in the making." That's
Good
poetic.
tagline.
It's a great tagline. That tells you so much and yet so little at the same time. And this one is just like, if that's the refresher for this movie, then that's a bad refresher. I'm sorry. But I don't know.
That's the thing I think, to just wrap it all up. It's like, it's not a terrible movie. I think the
No.
review scores are pretty bad right now. It's like a 54%
It's
on
like
Rotten Tomatoes.
split.
It's very split. And we've seen that a lot in movies
Sure.
lately. But it made $150 million on its opening weekend. It's made like almost $800 million worldwide. It's been out for a few weeks overseas, and every
Yeah.
time it opens, it's the #1 slot. So people want to go and they want to see it. But it's, and I like that they burn down the park and they're like, we're not doing another park.
Yeah.
I like where they're going. I feel like it took a long time to get there, and I wish more had happened, or at least better characters to care about.
Sure. I think if I'm coming out of a Jurassic Park movie, and if I'm saying it's the most fun I've had watching a Jurassic Park movie since the first one, but having that still being faint praise is a failure. So if I'm like, I don't want to come out of a Jurassic Park movie feeling like that. So, I mean, if I would see this again, but I wouldn't pay for it. I don't even know if I'd pay for concessions for it.
I saw it twice. The first act is amazing.
Sure.
I love the first act. Right up until they get on the boat
Yeah.
and like off the island, it's just so much fun. There's so much visuals going on, and
Yeah.
it's just well shot and really cool, dynamic situations. And I was just like, I'm really on board for this. And then I don't think it ever reached that height again for
Yeah.
the rest of the movie.
I'm just and I'll just say I'm looking forward to the next one. Stakes
I
are
think
high.
we have to give a nonsense score now.
Nonsense score. How many?
How many dinosaurs out of dinosaurs would you give this movie?
I would give 8 out of 12 Dilophosauruses.
All right, I'm gonna give 6 out of no. I'm gonna give 3 Triceratopses, but 2 T-Rexes out of
Ooh.
15 Compsognathus.
That's
yeah,
very
there we go.
generous of you.
Do you have any final thoughts before we leave?
I don't know. I think we've pretty much done it. But I would like to thank you for. I mean, we're a 2-person operation this time. Pat's done a really good job of anchoring this whole thing.
Plus, like a bunch of other people behind the scenes. We love you behind the scenes people that we'll never put in front of the camera. Watch the vlog.
Yeah, watch the vlog. Pat, where can people find you?
I'm at Secretly Super at Instagram.
I am at 80s_Tom Hanks. 80s Tom Hanks. That's my That's my.
Thank you guys so much for watching us at the Movie Club here at Muchobliged. If you have any comments about our new setup, or what you'd like to see, or maybe some suggestions, or if you just want to be mean in the comments, like, we like that too. You know, we'll have a good laugh. But hey, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, do all the YouTube stuff. Tell your grandmother. Just try to explain to her what YouTube is. That'll be a fun afternoon. But from here, we're here. Oh boy, I've been trying to get this tagline.
From all of us at
Muchobliged
TV.
No, that doesn't set it up right. We here. Nope, that's not it either. Hold on, we're gonna get it. We're called Muchobliged TV because we're happy to have you. Bam, nailed it.
Like, share, subscribe.
Already said that.
Bye.